Hi, my name is Zilkin and I'm the author of Blue Mountain Mist. I am doing another entry today, and this one has to do with our futuristic vision. And this one is very, very interesting because it kind of guides our little test run with the armed forces in production. So that's something internal. You don't need to know that. But the key is how important this project is. So once upon a time, this was 2013, almost a decade ago, someone said, I consider them thieves, said Uber. Now, every Turkish person will get that, but it was linked to Hanna's Kanata means wings, not only discovery on July 1st, 2013, but the court cases that ravaged on secretly. There was a total of about 5 of them running in 2013, back to back. And it has to do with not just wings, but it had to do with Ottoman history, and it had to do with 2 other previous journals. By the time 2013 came around, she was already a seasoned veteran in the journal production. So this is nothing new, even though it's a decade ago. You have to understand her age. She was born in 1967. Now, as for the cluster in Canada, in Hanna's mind, it's the only one that is artificial and linked to major fraud that is also linked to the other clusters, because when we're thinking of fraud, it became a security issue between countries trying to protect themselves. Now, Kanata means wings added to global history, and so did the artificial cluster inside Canada. But by supporting this story, you support 1, the interactive of Blue Mountain Mist, 2, the proposals, which is real evolve, a small sample and a 360-degree turn. Hanna doesn't want to deal with the professionals at all on this matter. She wants to do her layout first, and then they can ABC it. They can either like it, keep it, not sure, research it, or C, they can redesign something completely different. Now, if she gets involved with them, it screws up a woman's ideology of existence. Number 3 is also the summary format movie. I mean, it's nice to see the authentic. And Hanna highlighted that anthropology merges with new Jews to put a value on human life. The concept of never one theory, a teardrop ever again. And, they do that for many different reasons. And that is just male ideology. And they cut arms, and they, took irons, and they burned individuals. It was horrific in Canada, some of the violence that went on. Now, she covered pretty much everything, and she even opened up 9 billion jobs. But the only way to do that is really to pray. We really want these guys, Lucifer and his entourage, backing away from Canadian security, Canadian national borders, Canadian banks. They changed servers for fraud. We want these guys really backing off, because in the end, you have to understand, Hanna is Indian and Hanna is also Chinese. Hanna is also a white Negro, and she's also Turkish. She's also Canadian, and she was also raised in the United States. She deals with all land projects, and her children are a multitude of colors and no different than the jungle. This, she believes, is the universe educating humans. And we want to try it, because to break something, it takes 5 minutes. I mean, when we think of how beautiful Syria and Lebanon was once with Phoenicia, today, everything, they went in, they broke everything, and they left. It was very easy, but I would have liked to see it in its original format. All the marbles stolen and made into smaller pieces and sold as gifts and artifacts. They did the same damages in Iraq, and they did the same with the richest of the world's estates. So these are some of the challenges part of C3's history. So if you support it, you support the interactive, you support the proposals, you support the movie, we're going to include a link below, and I will try to get you an address going. But it hasn't been nothing but a disaster in the making, only because it's very, very male oriented, these guys. And, you know, we're just tired of too much testosterone. Really, we are. So by supporting this address here, and this is the authentic, you actually won't get Blue Mountain Mist at all. It's a very convoluted series of global poems. It's the ideology of, once we connect it with its interactive and the psychology of the person who wrote it at that particular time, you will find a whole different visual, no different than Jurassic Park, of history merged with war, merged with divination, and all of that. So this is the address. By all means, if you send a letter, you will be put on a mailing list. To be combined for the membership for the Historical Society is $65. If you're into that, every history department at every university should be. But this is where we are today. And again, just Uber is Hannah's idea, hands down. You know, and this person was cut into, but still quietly works. And if she went running down the street screaming her head off, she probably would have been shot at the height of Cluster 3 in 2013. So she's very, very quietly working. And this is where we are today. We are hoping a new year brings in pleasant things. And that is it. And with the movie, you will be pleasantly surprised. You will see heritage and all of that, and a little bit of the future. When this person dies, all of this will close. If you're smart and support it, you actually might make a killing off of it. You know, so that's the end of it. And by supporting her, you also support someone who's completely legal, does not go for any type of tyranny. Every dry piece of her bread is kosher. That is how she thinks and presents and acts. You know, the Turks pulled a stunt, and they were right at that time too, because, you know, they didn't want that area being a symbolic holy. They wanted it to move it to India, China, Mexico. They didn't care, but they didn't want it in Turkey. But it's really the land of symbolic holy. And by expanding it in symbol format, whether it's the first banks, the first bankings, the first banks, the first trading, the first settlements, many divination stories out of Anatolia, whether it's native history, whether it's Turkic people of the region, whether it's the first settlements, the militaries, many big empires, Hittite and all of that ran through Anatolia. Germany and Scandinavia's forefathers are also Anatolia. China, big role with Babel inside Anatolia. Most people don't know that. India with its Ottoman heritage inside Anatolia. The blacks, by all means, big role with Ethiopia. Again, I consider that also a piece of that connector point, the cradle of civilization. All of these things are a component of symbolism for a very special area in the world, and a strategic one too, for that matter. So the stunts that were pulled by the Turks to protect their national security, they're also right. But by supporting this, you actually help us advance. So thank you and have a good day.